Installing a well pump at home may seem like a difficult or intimidating task, but today we're going to show you an easy step-by-step installation with one of our engineers from RPS, and we're going to take you along with us right now. So I think the first thing that we're going to move on to doing is connecting our submersible pump up.
Yep.
And then, because the submersible pump, if you don't know, comes in two parts, a motor end and a pump end. And then we'll wire our submersible pump up to our submersible flat jacketed cabling that Andrew is holding. Mm-hmm. This is 12 gauge for 3/4 horsepower, more than enough if you have a bigger horsepower pump, because this installation applies to a lot of horsepowers of pumps. From 1/2 horsepower all the way up to 5 horsepower and even above. The general installation follows this path. So let's start. Anything I can help with?
Yeah, I mean, we can, you want to help me open up this bag right here that has
Splice
the
kit.
splice kit with the shrink tubing. It's twin wall tubing. It'll shrink down 4 times to 25% its size. And then it also has a thermoset elastomer on the inside that's going to seal everything up and make sure water doesn't get into your connections underwater.
For those of you who want that translated into English, there's a glue inside of a plastic tube that will seal up your wire connections.
Yep.
Okay. I got this open for you.
Yep.
There you go. These plastic tubes look like this. I'll bring one of these forward. This is what you want to put on your wire before you do anything else. You're going to put it over the wire, just like Andrew's doing right there. There's another one.
And you can put this on the pump side or the drop wire side.
All right, and then you need the clamps.
Yep.
Or the crimps, I should say.
The butt crimps.
Butt crimps. Okay, so here's your first butt crimp. So Andrew is butt crimping the side of the wire that's emanating from our roll of submersible pump wire. And he's gonna do that for each one of those strands. And then we'll connect up what we call the pigtail of the motor. It's about a 6-foot strand of wire that emanates directly from the motor end of the submersible pump.
Okay.
Great. And we usually give a tug on each one of those just to make sure that they're nice and snug.
All good.
All good. Okay, great. So we finished up the splice. We're going to move on to putting the pump together next, right?
Yeah, this is our the step where we mate the pump end to the motor. You can see we've made our connection here, and this connection is going to be, aligned up near the drop pipe.
Yeah.
And from here, we're going to take off our bolts that come attached to the motor. We're going to slip those off. Make sure you don't miss the split washers located on one of the studs right here. You're going to pull all those off, and then you're going to mate the pump end to the motor, and then we're going to put on the protective sheath.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
So that bottom part that you're holding right now is the motor end.
Yep.
And then you're about to put the pump end on top.
Yep. For submersible borehole pumps, usually the motor is located down below the water line, and then the pump itself is directly connected via this spline drive to the shaft on the bottom of the pump. This is where the intake is located on one of these types of pumps. You can see there's a very simple screen right there to make sure any large debris that can clog or jam up your pump shaft is protected. And then we're going to go ahead and drop it on. And then sometimes when you're making this connection, it's helpful to get your fingers in here and make some slight adjustments so that you can align the splines on the receiver right here with the motor down below.
Andrew, we're back to the next step.
All right.
Tell me about it.
After a little rain out, we are assembling the top end, the pump, to the motor. So at this step, what we do is we'll just drop this on. And as we're dropping it onto the splines of the motor, we're going to just go ahead and give it a little twist and make sure everything's aligned. and then we're going to drop it down.
Nice, and that motor spline is the thing that the motor's actually turning to get the internals of the pump end to move.
Yep.
So that's what's shoving water up to the surface.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that looks settled, right?
Yeah. So for this next step, what we're going to do is we're going to bolt on the pump end to the motor, and we'll just use our split washers and place the split washers on first on each of the studs, and then we're going to put the bolt down, and then we'll tighten it down after we finger tight it.
Some people might look at these bolts and washers and go, is this going to be enough to hold my pump end and motor end together? And the easy answer is yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to be careful about dropping it into the interior. You got to keep a nice, tight grip on those, but that's okay. It's pretty easy to just move on to the next one and shake it out. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
So the split washer's still on there, and then we just drop it on. Give it another try. Yeah, so now that we've gotten everything finger tight, for the final step to get it fully fastened together, we're going to tighten it down with a wrench.
And for this one, we're using a 13 millimeter.
Yeah. You can also use a 9/16. There we go.
Well, so now that we've attached those washers and bolts, we're going to move on to a really small, just little protection method for your wires, which is called, I think it's called a wire sheath, right?
Yeah.
Stainless steel wire sheath. You attach that and your wires don't get rubbed on from, your well or installation.
Yeah. So we'll grab the pieces right here. It'll have a 2 Phillips head screws, and then the wire protector right here.
And this comes with your pump and every kit. And then I'll hold this for you.
There you go. Thank you.
While you work on installing it.
So what we'll do next is we'll lay that down, and then we're going to just gather the wires up and run it up the side. We're going to flatten it out. We're going to make sure that the black abrasion protector right here is snug up and bottomed out on the wires. And then we're going to take them and flatten them against the pump end, and then we can drop this on right here. And then we're ready to screw it on.
It takes a little bit of finagling.
Yeah.
But
so we'll get it.
Very straightforward so that your wires don't get injured or nicked. You've done all the hard work up to this point. This is really important to install. We are moving on to one of the more exciting parts of this installation, which is getting the plumbing fittings installed on the pump.
Yep.
You've got a couple of plumbing fittings in your hands right there. Could you explain to the viewer what each one of these is and how they work, especially that check valve?
Yeah, so the first one is the nipple. This is going to connect from the top end of your pump to the check valve that you'll install at the very top. This is a check valve that will prevent backflow down into the well and maintain the pressure in what will be eventually tied into your pressure tank and house pressure. And then finally, of course, the barb fitting, which will connect on the outlet of the check valve, and this will transition to the poly pipe, which will complete the drop down the well.
Great. So you're gonna install these, and I'll talk a little bit about the importance of check valves in a system while we do so.
Sure. Yeah. The first thing I'm going to do is I'll put some Teflon tape on this nipple here. I've already done it for this barb fitting. And then once I get the Teflon tape on, we'll be able to spin these fittings on.
Now, what kind of Teflon tape are we using today? It's a little bit of a special type of Teflon tape that RPS carries because we use stainless steel fittings. And we like stainless steel because not only does it prevent, dislike metals from separate parts, right? You're using a brass piece fitting to a stainless steel or a steel fitting, so it prevents electrolysis.
Yeah.
But they're also just high quality, they last really long time, and the added feature is they look great. They're very shiny, very silvery, but you do want to be using a specific type of Teflon tape to get the best watertight seals, and this is the one that I'm talking about. Maybe you can give that a close-up to the camera of what the Teflon tape looks like.
Yeah, this is a gray high build Teflon tape that we use that both lubricates and seals the threads on these stainless fittings. You know, it works really great.
Yeah, those threads on the stainless steel fittings are super sharp and like super well molded. So
Yeah.
you need something special to help maintain that watertight fit.
Mm-hmm.
So how many rolls of Teflon tape do you usually put on a single?
I do usually around 3 to 5 wraps around.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you want to be focusing on really the edge that's going to be hitting
Yeah.
the other edge of the other
Yeah.
plumbing fitting.
Yeah, just so it's lined up and make sure it doesn't overlap the edge of the fitting so you don't get loose threads getting into your plumbing system.
Incredible. Okay.
It's really slippery, so once you get a couple wraps on it, you don't have to hold it anymore, but until you get like 1 or 2, you just want to kind of hold it and make sure it doesn't slip out while you're rolling it on.
And you just do this once. You don't have to go back in and do it again.
Yeah, and just make sure that you're wrapping it in a clockwise fashion. If you do it the other way, it'll just start to bunch up and it won't lay into the threads.
Oh,
Yeah.
good tip. That's
Yeah.
a great pro tip.
So, all right, well, we got this nipple done, and then we also already have the barb fitting finished. So we'll be ready to assemble the top end plumbing fittings for the installation.
Let's do it. I can't wait
Yeah.
to see this. So there goes the threaded nipple on first.
Make sure you don't cross thread it. It's pretty easy to do with these kinds of sharp threads. So yeah, now we'll just put on the check valve and then just mind the direction of the arrow and make sure that the arrow on the check valve
this
right here is pointed in the upward direction. That indicates that the flow is restricted to that direction, which is up towards the surface.
And this is where we recommend, this is like another pro tip of ours, is we recommend putting a check valve right off of the pump itself. Like that is the standard move for industry and for any DIY installation.
Yep. So yeah, finally we'll put on the barb fitting and then we'll start to get the wrench on and tighten everything up.
All of these are 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/4 inch, and then this
Yep.
hose barb is 1 1/4 inch to 1 inch because we're going to be using 1 inch poly
Yeah,
pipe today.
this is a pretty low volume application, so we're going to be using just 1 inch. It's not very deep either, and so this is the appropriate diameter for the poly that we're going to be using.
Great, let's take a wrench and tighten it up. So you're using one wrench to basically hold the pump, and then another one to tighten everything down.
Yeah,
Got it.
here we go. So we'll just check our threads and make sure we're getting everything closed up. So yeah, we've got about 3 or 4 threads of engagement, which should be suitable for this.
All right, so now it's time to play with the flamethrower, and we're gonna warm up our poly pipe.
Yep.
It may take a minute depending on where you are in the US and what season you're installing this in. This poly pipe might be colder, or like we've laid it out in the sun for a little while, unwrapped it, unwound it, and it's a little bit warmer. You're gonna want to warm it up so that it's not melted, but just malleable enough that you're gonna be able to push it over this hose barb right here. So, Andrew, will you do the honors?
Yeah, we'll put the hose clamps on first.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say.
And then flame on.
Now you want to use both hose clamps. That's an important part here, is that we usually use 2 hose clamps on the poly pipe. And again, you don't want any bubbling. That means you've stayed in one place for too long trying to warm up the pipe. Always keep the flame moving. Ah, I see some movement there, so we're getting close.
Getting a little softer.
This is my personal favorite part of the installation, is whenever I can use a blowtorch.
Yeah.
You may be good. You want to try it out?
Yeah, it's pretty warm now.
I will hold the pump.
You want to angle it that way
Yeah.
so that get it on.
Oh, I think this
And then
will
we're
be
going
easy.
to push it down.
Look at this! Now this is an extended bar, so it takes a little extra effort to push it over.
In this case, you can get it down all the way, but That's plenty of bite for this situation where we're only about 50 feet down.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and place our clamps and tighten it down over this location.
That's the beauty of the extended barb, is you can go down all the way to the edge of the barb, but really you only need a couple of bites biting into that poly pipe and it's locked on.
We're going to go ahead and tighten down our hose clamps. So we're going to just drop those down, get them into place.
Here you go. Hold this.
Thank you. There we go. And that's done.
Wow. That took like 10 minutes.
Yeah, not too bad at all.
Yeah.
So what we'll do from here is we're going to connect and tape our wire up to our drop pipe, and then it'll be time to install it down the well.
Yeah, so we're gonna use electrical tape, right?
Yeah.
So we'll grab that from our tool bag and then we'll show you our tried and tested method of where to put electrical tape to connect your poly pipe and wire as a bundle. Oh, one thing that we are forgetting is safety rope.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's go get it real quick.
Okay. All right, Andrew, we've located some safety rope. This is just a marine grade polypropylene rope that's not going to degrade when it's in contact with water for a long time. And you're going to show us how to tie it off on the top of the pump. This is so that just in case anything happens, your pump does not fall down the well and you have to retrieve it. This is going to be an easy retrieval tool.
So we're just going to go ahead and find one of those eyelets at the top of the pump end, and we'll feed it through, and then we'll just tie it off with a knot.
Andrew sails, so he has extraordinary knot tying abilities. Ooh, look at that. What's this knot called?
This is just a bowline.
Nice. And if you really want to, you can take that torch and you can melt off the end of that rope if you want to. Some people do, some people don't. It's not a big deal. Okay, Andrew, so now we are on to the top of well plumbing. That's going to include our well seal and connecting up to our poly pipe. And so where's the other end of our poly pipe that we've got over here?
It's right over here.
Okay. So we're going to pull this thing out, and this is going to connect up to essentially a hose barb, threaded nipple, well seal, and then a T at the top of the well, right?
Yep.
Okay. So actually we're going to loosen up the bolts on this well seal first, put all the plumbing through, and then connect it up to the poly pipe. All right, so this is a stainless steel, I believe this is a 4-inch, yes, it's a 4-inch well. And what a well seal is made out of is 3 layers, essentially, which is a bottom plate, a top plate, and in the middle of the hockey puck looking well seal is this big rubber gasket. And the 2 plates are tightened down and held together by 4 tightening screws, and you have to loosen those up so that you can stick a threaded nipple, this thing, through the middle of it, and that'll allow you to make connections above the well seal and below the well seal. I'm gonna do the honors. Should be pretty easy to push it through, just a little bit of force, but if you can't get it to push through the other side, loosen up the bolts a little bit more and just repeat the process. If you're having some issues, maybe you don't have a really good grip strength, you can use a little bit of leverage, what Andrew's gonna demo right now, that you can push.
We'll just take the nipple and then we just push it down and then just align it and get it to sit over the blank side of the nipple.
Yeah, so helps you with a little bit of accuracy if you're not quite strong enough to do it, just brute forcing it through.
Yep.
Great, so now we can tighten down the
We're gonna put on the thread tape and dress all the fittings that we need to assemble, and then we'll tighten everything down.
Okay, so what's the next fitting that you're gonna put on?
We're gonna do the thread tape.
Ah, thread tape, sorry.
So now we're gonna go ahead and put on our female fittings right here. On the bottom, which is gonna connect to the barb fitting, is gonna be the coupler. Again, 1 1/4. And then on the top side, there will be a T that will support all the weight of the pump and drop wire and poly pipe. There's lots of different ways to put it on. You can either put it on this way or you can put it on vertically. In this case, we can put it on vertically like this. and then finally we'll install our other fittings, the 1 1/4 inch cap and the barb fitting on the other side.
And that's why it's so important to use something like 304 stainless steel, because this is what's helping hold up your pump. Not only just the well seal balancing on your well casing, but also your plumbing.
Yeah, minimizing corrosion is key to making sure that everything stays together over time.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well put.
Now what we've got everything threaded on, we're just going to go ahead and get some wrenches out and tighten this all up, and then we'll be ready to install it on the poly pipe.
We are done with our above ground plumbing and we're about to hook it up to the other side of the poly pipe. I'm going to hold this for you while you grab the poly pipe, and then we're going to have to go through the same process that we did for the bottom of the poly pipe of warming it up with the blowtorch.
So we'll go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to put our hose clamps on first, and then we'll hold them in place as we get everything installed.
We'll speed through this for you since you've already basically seen how to get this technique right on the other side of the poly pipe.
So we got our poly pipe all warmed up, and now we're going to install it onto the top of the well seal assembly. Drop it down.
Go, 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 yeah!
All right. Yeah, so now
More than enough.
We'll go ahead and we'll tighten our hose clamps down.
We are so close to being able to drop this pump down the well.
To prevent any possible chance of chafing, you also want to make sure that your hose clamps don't align with where your wiring is going to be coming out. So we got that set on this side. Our wire is going to be coming up on this side of the well seal assembly.
So we are onto the step where we place the wire and thread it through the intended well seal hole. Boom, Andrew's already got it through. Okay, so now that we've pulled the wire through our well seal, the next thing you're going to want to do, just to double check that all of the lengths look correct next to each other and you're not coming up short on, your wire or poly pipe, is just lay everything out on flat ground, kind of pull the wire until it feels like it matches the poly pipe, but leave a little bit of slack in the wire because you don't want it to be just completely taut. There needs to be at least a little bit, maybe just a couple feet of kind of slack to allow for some give, especially because the poly pipe is going to expand a little bit over time as it just hangs in the well.
Our next step is going to be to begin taping the wire to the drop pipe. We'll get some electrical tape right here, and we'll begin transitioning. Again, watch out for any kind of hose clamps that might be in the way. It's also a good idea to wrap the hose clamps as well. Make sure they're not chafing or damaging anything in the well.
Now we like to say every 10 feet put some electrical tape. You could expand that out to 20 feet, but if you want to be nice and neat, every 10 feet a roll of electrical tape on your bundle is a good idea.
So now that we got that protected, we're going to go ahead and wire up our pump wire, bring it up alongside the check valve. Make sure that you're not taping it into any sharp edges. Allow these transitions to occur smoothly, and you're not causing chafing along any of the fittings.
Great. And so we're just going to repeat this process about every 10-ish feet.
Yeah, so we'll add a little bit more just to allow the transition to occur. But once we jump out to our flat jacket cable and go over the longer distances, yeah, it definitely makes sense to extend it so you're not doing it every too frequently.
Plus you'd run out of electrical tape at that point. If you back in with you once we finish the rest of our roll, and then we'll be putting the pump down the well.
The last thing we have to do is drop the safety rope. We have to feed it through the well seal assembly, and then when we're ready to drop it down the well.
Okay, so we're going to get some close-ups of that, and then in the meantime, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the well itself that we have here today. So this is a 4-inch casing. It's using PVC. We don't exactly know how old this well is, but we know that it has some sand at the bottom of it, needs a little bit of a cleaning out, and it was being used for the residential property that is here behind us. we know that the well is probably about 70, 75 feet deep, and the water level, the static water level, the top of the water is only about 25 feet down from where I'm standing. So it should be a very easy drop of the submersible pump down there. We're really only dropping it to like 40 feet maximum today so that we can avoid that sandy bottom that we know is there. Usually though, if you're installing your submersible well pump, 20 feet off the bottom minimum is the best strategy for you. You can always place the pump higher up though in the well if you have a really large water column.
So we've got the end of our poly pipe and the well seal assembly with the flat jacket cable attached. What we're going to do now is we're going to feed it our safety rope through one of these accessory bungs right here on the side of the well seal.
What did you call it, an accessory bung?
Yeah, just an extra location for other things like low well sensors and other items like that that may require wiring. In this case, we're utilizing it for the rope here. What we'll do is real quick, we'll tie it off to a solid structure. Maybe we can use that T-post, maybe that T-post right over there.
Great.
So that way if anything happens, we at least have one line of defense, and then we'll get started with dropping it down.
I'm just gonna do a basic tie if that's okay.
That
just
works.
A basic
it's just
tie
temporary.
Off. I'll just do a double knot, and that should be sufficient for if anything happens.
Okay, now we're just gonna get things organized, and we'll be ready to drop it down.
Wow, we're at the last step. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Andrew, we're about to drop the pump down the
go.
well. Here we go. All right, it's going faster now.
Hey, this isn't so bad for me. How bad is it for you?
This is really easy for me. I mean,
right.
It doesn't feel like I'm really holding much of anything.
All right, there we go. I think we just hit water right there.
I heard it too.
I heard it too.
I heard a little boom.
There we go. I hear some sloshing. And now we're in the water.
And there does seem to be different techniques that you can do. You could do the
Yep.
let it go slowly, or you could kind of do the hand over fist motion. Both seem to be working just fine. Oh my gosh, Andrew, it's about to happen. I'm gonna give the big shot. Wow.
There we go.
We did it.
Just in case anything happens, we'll go ahead and take out some of the slack on our safety rope.
I'm gonna put the cable over here so it doesn't get wet. High
We got
five,
it.
nice job. We
We
got
did
it. We installed this pump, and if you wanna see the next steps for installing the rest of the pump, like wiring it up to the starter box and getting everything to work so you actually see water, watch our next videos, but this is where we sign off since we have completed our well pump installation for today. See you guys later.